Yes.
Well,
Yeah. You were the best.
so we're gonna also switch the video so that it's not mirrored, so that you can see things straight up and down.
And so when he
Okay.
comes on, I just pin him.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my gosh, Brandon. Oh, I cannot thank you enough for your hard work. And
Okay.
hey, y'all, the tech people at Harold Washington are the best.
They are awesome.
Sure are.
I can't stop singing great praises about the team. So.
Great, great. Wonderful to hear as union members.
Yeah.
All right, my friends.
Yeah, we're going to come back up and install the software.
So we're gonna get this started. I know we're streaming a little early, but that's fine. I'm turn up the sound. I'm just basically talking to myself and turning up the sound. So it's on. Trin, can you say hi to me? I want to test the sound up.
Good morning.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, no, too loud, too loud. Okay, come in, bringing it down, bringing it down. Good morning. How are you? Mama,
I'm doing well. How are you?
you know, we'll talk about that some other time because we're streaming live, but you know,
Okay,
God is good all the time. All the time, God is good.
absolutely.
So I keep telling myself, lady. So this is super exciting. I'm
Hey,
just
Lynn,
gonna,
hi.
you're the best. You're the best.
Hey,
You know, don't let me forget that Trin, Lynn, I apologize. We are giving away the Kindle book for free.
oh,
So
okay.
it's on Amazon and I have the link to it. Let me call this dude. I'm just gonna call him real quick. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Mijo, you all, can you do me a huge favor, Mijo? Can you start a sign up sheet for the students that are here so we don't disrupt the video?
Oh, sure.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Come on in, brother. We're streaming now because the class is about to start. If you want to come in early and Lynn is ready to interview you. Ora pues, see you soon. Bye-bye. You know, Lynn, you're welcome to come to the classroom too, if you wish.
Yes, I was actually working remote today.
Ah, okay.
Otherwise, I would have joined in person. Absolutely.
And my students, if you wouldn't mind coming up forward so the speaker can see your faces, even if it's just some of you, that would be great. Or how do I do this camera? Where is the camera? Oh, hell, what do I? Oh, the camera is up there. Okay. This is super exciting, but next time, when I bring other speakers, we'll just go to 11. So we're just gonna be here for another minute. I did message my students out. Yes, it's Columbus Day, but it's not a recognized holiday by the city for our unit. So we're in class, and if some people, you know, zoom in, that's fine. Yeah, you have and thank you, Mihail. Is that okay if you come to the front? Okay. You won't be in the stream necessarily. Welcome, welcome. Could you do me a favor? Can you please close the door, Miha? And then you all is starting the sign-up sheet.
But should I just write like sign up sheet and then every?
Attendance sheet, October 10th. Just gotta put their name down. I see that they're here. Welcome, welcome. If you wish, the Kindle book is available for free download right now through tomorrow. So you can grab that. It's and I would love any constructive feedback on the design because I designed it. Go ahead and download that if you want to take a look, see, and tell your friends about it, man. Free book, right? Woo! All right. I'm expecting 10 students just because it's Columbus Day, but we'll see. We're also streaming on YouTube. I say, you know, they can't, if you don't mind coming to the very, very front desk because he can't see your faces unless you, and then it's not recommended to get into Zoom because there's gonna be feedback. So that was my grand plan. Oh, yeah, here we go, here we go. Welcome, oh, Lynn, what I was gonna say is if you have a light to, but you look okay.
Okay, I can turn on the.
Yeah, that'd be great. Misa, how are you doing? Let's hear a sound check, sound check, sound check. I'm so bossy. Bro, unmute, comrade. I'm going to temporarily, no, it's fine. I'm gonna put it in speaker view. Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening?
How's the sound, students? Is that too loud or is that good? Hey, we're excited to have you. That's all I gotta say. We are streaming live, so we're gonna get started in a few minutes, but We're here having our first virtual event for Harold Washington College. It's actually my creative writing class, but I stream because I want students that aren't present to be able to do the extra credit and hear the great performances from all the speakers that I bring to my classes. So it's a small group and it's also Columbus Day, and I don't know how many are coming, but these students are phenomenal. I cannot, and I'm not saying this because we're streaming live. I'm telling you that I have the golden, I don't even know what to call it. I have like the luck. I get the best writers in my classes. And I'm like, yes, you know, super psyched. So
That's great.
that doesn't mean you stop working hard now. You gotta keep working on your stories, see, and your poetry.
Every
So-
day.
Preach it, Misael, preach it.
I'll begin by preaching. Is this officially started?
We're gonna wait just 3 more minutes. Lynn and Lynn is here. You may remember Lynn. She's very wonderful about coming to the event. She is now, what is your official title, Lynn?
I am the Director of Events and Programming here at Harold Washington. Nice to meet you.
So
Nice to
Lynn is gonna be my new sister forever and ever, as long as she's here. Mijo, it's okay. Come on in. Come on in. Come towards the front. Come into the light so he can see your lovely faces. Well, actually, he can't see your faces. He can see the back of your head.
Yeah. I could see who brought in a jacket and who didn't.
Who brought me a treat or a card? Nobody. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna wait a couple of minutes. Do a quick check on how was your weekend? Yeah, you see this? Therapy, all this therapy. Yeah, did you, yeah. Reliving the youth, midlife crisis. Just kidding. Okay, y'all wanna see my heart, right? Okay, I'm just gonna show up for everybody on YouTube. It's not about me, but what? You see this?
It is
Yes.
stunning.
Thank you. I didn't want to
So-
do.
So I wanted to say something about writing every day for those early birds.
Hey, why don't we go ahead and get started? Hold up, Misa, let's do it. It was 9:33. We have Lynn who is going to introduce you, then I'll say a few words and then we can proselytize. I mean,
Okay.
we can talk. Oh, there's more people coming in. Oh, hold up. No, we gotta wait. Hold on to that brilliant thought. Hola. Welcome, Juanita. Are your students? Oh, wait till she connects to the audio. Are your students coming in, Juanita? I hope. You're muted. She's still muted. Okay, that's okay. All right. So, all right, go ahead, Lynn.
Alrighty, well, good morning, everyone. I am Lynn Williams. I'm the Director of Events and Programming here at Harold Washington College, and I'm excited to be able to introduce the speaker on behalf of the president today. And thank you, Dr. Estrada, for having me. Misael Juarez creates rhyme structures and stanzas to convey revolutionary dreams. By spending time to live experiences such as schizophrenia and psychosis, Misael has learned to write to create a balance between what appears to be otherworldly and our socioeconomic reality. He represents a rare minority in literature as he grew up with graffiti and gang experiences, along with a single mother, and was the third of 8 siblings. Misael majored in English at California State University of Los Angeles. Though he never finished his degree, he kept on writing and transferring his genius onto the page. Misael Juarez takes on the challenge to be a writer who experiences psychosis. He is also a voice for the streets. He is from a world of literary arts and hip hop, fusing with auditory and visual hallucinations stemming from schizophrenia. He has worked with many at-risk youths, from detention centers to high school and incoming university freshmen. Misael aims at being a poet and scholar of schizophrenia. He will continue to write poetry and letters to paint a broader picture of mental health as an advocate. Now, let's give a round of applause for our guest speaker, or I'll turn it back over to Hasten.
So, I know I'm pinning his, you can't see my, well, what the heck, I guess if you can see me up here. So I just want to say very quickly, Misael is, we actually met we met on Facebook, I think, and, we hit it off as activists. But then it was our love of poetry that brought us together. So, it's just my privilege and honor to know Misael and to know that his commitment and for the very necessary mental health advocacy that we need in our communities, especially communities of color where healthcare issues are stigmatized. So you're in for a road treat. It is gonna be a reading like no other, so thank you for talking to my students. We're gonna talk about writing, we're gonna talk about poetry. By all means, ask questions. If you don't feel comfortable asking the question, I can ask it for you. People who are watching in the chat, please comment, ask questions. So again, let's definitely give them a huge Harold Washington welcome. Thank you. All right, take it away, brother.
Okay. Well, greetings, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Good morning. I'm happy that you guys are attending that university and getting your skills worked up and all of that good stuff.
It's a community college, brother.
Yeah. Oh,
It's even better than a university, much better.
it's a start. You know, I hear a lot of good things about community colleges. And I wanted to say that, you know, being a writer takes it's a journey. Writing is a journey. I know it sounds cliche, you probably heard that before, but writing is something that gets you going when the rough starts kicking in. There's a few words that you say to yourself in the morning, whether it be so radical that it'll get you going through the day. And that's what writers are supposed to do. Create these syntax, these phrases, these quotes, these whatever you want to call it, and it gets people's engines started, you know. And more so than get people's engines started in the morning, it's also something that helps people persevere, helps people through the rough. Just a little something that you wrote down could get many people through the day or through the year or through the decades because they remember that phrase you wrote. And so look into your journey. And somebody was sharing a little bit about myself. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia about 10 years ago. And I ever since then I've been writing, trying to make sense of it, trying to understand my situation. But I understand it so well. I have already surpassed that. I have surpassed that stage, and I am now building collectively with auditory hallucinations. I call it psychedelic writing. And I engage in that atmosphere, and I'm so thankful to be given the opportunity to speak to future writers or young writers. And with that said, Jesus, I'll give it back to you.
No, brother, do your thing, read some poetry, share some wisdom, share some stories from when you were in Oaxaca. I think students will be totally fascinated by that culture. Misael is also a Zapotec poet. He's an LA writer, you know, and so he has a lot of cultural knowledge, tricultural. Check it, Zapotec, Mexicano, Americano. Three languages, you know. We never talked about that, bro. You're like super freaking talented and carry a lot of cultural capital within you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
That made me a triple minority.
Right. and the mental health thing too, right? Quadruple, bro.
All right. So I'm gonna read this poem to you guys.
Guys, gals, and non-binary friends.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
right?
I gotta update my head, you know. All right. Gotta update we're in the future. We're already here. The future is here already.
Amen, brother.
I'm gonna say everybody.
Órale.
All right. Los Angeles is known for jails and poverty, full of light with wisdom and epic stories. But I see those hardworking people without the fear, making this country great with their blood, sweat, and tears. But these times call us to be real brave in the heart, because LAPD has been too rough acting hard. Police are angry at everyone with brown love, exploiting power, swearing they have a tough job. Let it be known that this country is war hungry, and our U.S. troops suffer when they die lonely. It's expensive to support the habits of the rich. They hoard wealth while ignoring the impoverished. They persecute brown children like it's patriotic. Spirit protects the mass static and dynamic. I'm a street vet writing from my childhood dreams, living on the edge with comrades rocking the scene. I got to get up quick to survive the madness, as my vision makes me a survivor at best. I've been at the bottom to rise like tidal waves, clearing energy that gave me so much heartbreak. I make my offerings to ancestors who watch, with a smile giving gratitude for what I've got. I'm so into my spoken word wife when I rise, but I have to leave her when it's time to go ride. Being brave in the heart for my kids to grow up. Show me a starting line and I will finish off. My style is something enemies praise like a dream, defeating adversity because I am a king. Returning back home after being stranded at sea, rocking metaphors like they are my golden fleece. The word doctor brings a Jedi verse like a bomb, because my double speakers blast when they play my song.
Beautiful. I love it, man. It's so rhythmic, and that one's got some it's iambic. Boom, it's beautiful. Does anybody have a question for Misael or a comment on his poetry? Go ahead.
How do you think that being diagnosed with schizophrenia kind of affected your writing? And how did that make you feel? But then also how did it affect your writing?
Okay, so did you get the question? She
Yeah.
wants to know how being diagnosed with schizophrenia, how did you feel and how did it affect your writing? Lyrical husband, just kidding.
It sent me directly to the notepad. As soon as I got diagnosed with schizophrenia, like months later, I was placed in a writing journey by my audio hallucinations. And it's almost like they demanded that I write. They demanded there was I didn't want to write at that time. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do anything regarding writing. I just wanted to work and make some money. But it was difficult because the when you have one world, you have the social world, right? You have the social reality of the world is right here. But then you got the audio hallucination or the spiritual world, whatever you call it, the ancestors. So they're right here and they're both trying to fight for your attention. So you cannot be viable in one realm if you're not viable in this realm. So you have to be aligned with this part of the reality and this part of the reality. So when I to answer your question is schizophrenia basically made me into the writer that I am because it moved me, it channeled me through those avenues and platform. It basically brought me here to where I am sitting with you today. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's basically it.
Misael, can you please tell them, I know it's probably a traumatic experience. When this started to happen to you was when you survived that mass stabbing. I don't know if you want to tell the youth about that.
Oh, I was the first time I started hearing voices was when I was stabbed after a violent incident in Los Angeles back in 2001. And are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here. We can hear you just fine.
And I was put in the backseat of a truck, and as I was bleeding, I closed my eyes and I started hearing conversation, and they were asking me if I wanted to join them, and they're telling me that my dead relatives were all there and everything, and it was pretty moving, but when I said yes, they were like arguing. It was like a community of voices, and they were invisible, and basically they said that I cannot go over there with them just yet. I had to wait, that I had to do a bunch of work here before I could leave. So that's basically what happened. And I don't know, something about the stabbing made
It triggered.
that.
How many times were you stabbed, just out of curiosity?
3 times.
Yeah, horrible. But you turned that terrible violent situation into a blessing. And another thing, because I know Misael and I know his history, that another thing that was genuinely a blessing was that the gang members supported you. They have supported you. And I thought it was so beautiful in the introduction where you talk about how they've traveled the world, they become teachers, they went to fight wars, they're raising children, but they always supported you. And I don't know, maybe we could talk a little more about that, but could you read the first poem, the anchor poem, in the collection? Because I think that'll offer more context about how you came in contact with my spoken word wife and why you call yourself the lyrical husband, which is so beautiful. And think about this. The spoken word wife inspires the poetry and he is her lyrical husband. It's such a beautiful metaphor in reality for Misael.
Yeah, it's like I'm married to my destiny as a writer. I do it so much that I couldn't do anything else, that it was like a wife. And just the voices would, if I'm not writing, the voices are nagging me to write. And so I have no peace to do anything else other than to write. Like right now you see me cool and everything because, you know, I've done my work. So that's how that works. A lot of people with schizophrenia are trying to figure out what is their niche or their destiny or what their purpose, whatever they're trying to do. And they get no peace to do what they want to do. So constantly battling instead of being in alignment with the other world, whatever that is. So I'll go ahead and read this poem. She is a beautiful brown petite woman, bringing out my humor and wit full of wisdom. I'm speaking about the poetic Vario goddess. She rules my heart and brings out loving comments. I'm inspired by her soulful, loving nature, pleasing her with words that spell out raw danger. And writing about her bright world is easy, every word filled with light bringing her home to me. Yet sometimes the world spins like an oldie record, and she's a chola singing through stormy weather. I never surrender to her imperfection. I'm surrendering to her will as a blessing. I penetrate the world with an infinite look. She purposely looks like a dork with a book. While I'm planting a tree in every neighborhood, making it up to nature for the paper she took. Her world is like a still soft and sweet melody. And like a detective, I solve a mystery. I'm on the edge of discovering my real gifts, seeing my destiny without the crucifix. I hold her hand and I get her more respect, forever feeling like this book is my mistress. I see her pain was never meant to be sold, but like the river, she is owning true flow. She's the best hand I ever had, so place your bet. Playing my hand like every star depends on it. Her smoke protects me from evil grins, blowing smoke as I flip the wild aces to win. Living on the edge makes me dangerous as they give me a award for making bold statements. I celebrate her style at LA open mics with this dedication to my spoken word wife.
Beautiful. So good. All right, let's do the quick short pause and check in with the learning community. Do you have questions or comments? Go ahead, mijo.
I had a question about, so do you start by, you like speak it out loud and then like, do you record yourself or do you sometimes write it down first and then speak it, or does it always start like as a spoken word first?
Did you get that?
What was his question?
Okay, Yoav wants to know if you speak your poems and then write them down, or if you write them down and then speak them, like what's your writing process when you create your poems?
Well, I just start writing. What I do is I find a place comfortable enough for me to do my work, and I just start writing, and I start engaging with the auditory hallucinations, and I begin my psychedelic writing. And the words just come in, they just start pouring out. And there's a certain way that I have to do it, you know, so it could be done, so I could get a 12-syllable line, because most of them are getting a thank you from Juanita del Toro. So
Got it.
So there's a process that I use, but it feels too complicated to explain. But In the past, I used to freestyle my words. I used to just think about it. The words will be resting in my head. They would just be like in my head, and I'll be on the bus going to school, doing work, cleaning a table, doing something, and the the messages or whatever those things that were forming in my head were taken down at one point. And that's how I used to write my essays. I used to write them in my head before I would sit down and write on paper. But now as a full blown schizophrenic, I just find I grab my telephone and just start writing, pour it out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would say that Misael has one of the most developed, elevated relationships with mental health. Doesn't demonize it, doesn't turn it into a negative thing. And in some ways, I mean, he frames it as a blessing, right? I mean, so y'all who complain, not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, y'all complain about that one internal editor that won't let you write, that you should shut down until you can revise and edit. And he does do a lot of revising and editing because it's not easy to come up with these rhymes, right? And make them flow naturally. So I think it's important. Like if you're ever think about Misael, who's got like a whole community talking to him and wanting him to write, so it's manageable. You know what I mean? Some of these students have some really, really strong internal editors that are preventing them from writing. And a lot of that is doubt, it's systemic, What I tell them is to park that voice and then save it for later or get rid of it in whatever way is healthy, because it's not letting them, write. So yeah. Hey, Misael, can we talk about the cover? Because the cover may fascinate. They've seen the proof, but the people on YouTube, can you hold up your cover so they can see it? This is one of the most beautiful covers I think I've ever had produced. And I told the students, but talk about this cover, talk about where the inspiration came from, and talk about Halo Rodriguez a little bit for us. Rodriguez, right?
Yes. So, the cover was designed by Halo Rodriguez. I told him to put the moon, put the street. I told him to do a few things, right? But he's the artist. He's the one that eventually told me to shut up and said, "Let me do this. I'm the artist." So I told him, "All right, you do it." I was telling him, "I want you to put this right here, and I want you to put this right there." And he's like, "It's not gonna work, dog. You're fucking it up." I'm sorry. and try to do too much in one drawing. And I said, "All right, man. You know what? I trust you, and so you go ahead and do it." So Halo came up with this beautiful, I'm gonna show you again, this beautiful drawing out of pencil. He just drew it. You can see there's a street, there's two people holding each other, moon, the stars, the city of LA in the background, surrounded by a cloud. And Halo, I knew him since we were teenagers. We were from the same neighborhood. And Halo caught a case when he was a juvenile, and he ended up serving about 20 years, maybe more or less. And when he was in jail, he learned how to draw. And he became so good that he was able to get whatever he needed based upon the amount of drawings he was able to do. So Halo went in. He went in as a juvenile, and he was sentenced as an adult. And he lost a lot of time with his family, his daughter, who has special needs. So when he came out, he was all about just taking care of her, to make up for the lost time. And he started I think he's worked now in a tattoo shop, and he's requested a lot and everything. So he's just taking care of his daughter now, and that's part of his story right there. So I thought Halo came in got out at a good time from jail. I think he got out a little bit early. I'm not sure if he served his full sentence, but it was happy. It was a happy moment to see him now in the street, because when he called me on the phone, I seen him with a seatbelt. I got like, I thought he was calling me from jail. I was like, "Hey, dog, are you driving?" Yeah.
That's awesome. And he's in LA. Is his tattoo shop in LA?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm feeling it, man. I don't know. I may just do it. I've never done the tattoo because it was instilled in me as a Chicana that only sluts and gang members wore tattoos. So I got to deprogram that old school thinking from Mexicanos, you know, because I'm kind of feeling the tattoo on the side of my head, man. You know, I know, right? But I the only person who's gonna do it is gonna be Halo, though. And I'm not sure. I might do like a little red communist star. I might, you know, I don't know. That's a bit much, but we'll see. No, it's a beautiful story and it's a testament because look, in the backdrop of Halo's story is this idea of police brutality and racial profiling. Because there is no reason a juvenile should serve an over 20-year sentence. I'm sorry, I don't care. That they took his life away, you know, and that's horrible. If you ever talk to Halo, you tell him he has my solidarity. So let's hear another poem.
All right. So let's do another one.
Can I pick it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking at witchcraft, like it's witchcraft, that one. We haven't heard you perform that one, and I love that one. They're all so good.
Like,
You can also read them out of order, but they do tell a story together, which is kind of cool. Like it's witchcraft is on page, hold up. Like we don't have a table of contents that we looked at a million times. Page 67.
67.
It's called like it's witchcraft. And another cool thing about this poem is that it really encapsulates, I'm going to show y'all that it says a lot about the indigenous, can you see okay? Okay. So if you look at that's an Aztec calendar, we chose Aztec decoration. All this is Misael, and for some reason the voices told them we needed to put arrows in the collection, so we put arrows, but they look really cool. I don't remember why now, but that was really important at the time, you know. The voices even told Misael how much to charge for the book. They were selling the book a little high, so we had to bring down the price. But I'm like, it was all a collaborative effort, you know what I mean? Like, now that I think about it, Misael, I wasn't just working with you, right?
Yeah.
Right? All right. Let's hear it. Like it's witchcraft.
She's the MC who writes it down like it's witchcraft. When she licks her lips, softening the vocab crash, it's like hearing waves rolling onto Cali shores. But I'm the daring surfer with the boogie board. If I ever meet Destiny, she spit like that. I want her to scream and shout my name when I rap. I'm on the great quest to get more bounce to the ounce. But watching 3 orca whales rise had me wiped out. Some folks who act like my comrades are ruthless villains just because we're from the Harbor Street code chillin'. And her cool story contains glory and thunder because I deliver the craziest number. She sits at home smoking, wearing just pantyhose, exploring a game of wits. That's a life hustle. We play lyrical chess and checkers having fun. I am my every move with a cold, daring response. She's street poetry, a shooting star, and much more. We're poets engaging in gun battle wars. When we ride, we light up the night with metaphors. But her honey words knock me out to fly and soar. The revolution blesses with strong alchemy, blocking magic to be fast against enemies, defeating the odds with a sweet praise to God's work. But we're smoking peyote with Huichol masters. They're trying to install fear till we're all trembling. But fear is not of this earth, so we're battling, because we're heroic philosophers and warriors, bombing their conscience with kinetic static words. She's gifted to place her bet on the man she loves, gambling with the sixth sense to soar high up above. With her on my team makes me see that I'm so blessed while we recite for all the children who live oppressed.
I like it. I like that little addition you made. May want to think about that for revision. Beautifully done. You know, there's a lot of imagery here. I actually like the juxtaposition of witchcraft, black magic, and God's work. I don't know if you can speak a little bit to that, but you know, it's just so good. And again, yeah. And I think, okay, go ahead. Well, tell me about that dynamic between witchcraft. Maybe even, I know curanderismo is not witchcraft. If you can explain the curandero who gave you this fine philosophy about books. So maybe talk about that. And on top of that, hang on to this one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in Mayan and Aztec culture, weren't they held up as esteemed members of the community because they saw them as communicating with the gods? Is that not the case for Aztec? Do you remember this?
I read something along those lines. I don't know. They didn't say schizophrenics. They just said the curanderos, but like there's a modern conversation around those things. What is schizophrenia? Is it spiritual, is a spiritual emergency, or is it just something all in your head? So there's a modern conversation about that ongoing right now. So people are debating that. But in psychiatry, schizophrenia is just a mental disease.
Hmm.
In indigenous world culture, schizophrenia could be a spiritual connection to the divine or otherworldly things. I don't want to say everything is divine that you hear as a schizophrenic, because sometimes you hear things that are just, that doesn't sound like it's interested in doing anything good for the world. So to be a modern schizophrenic, you have to be discerning. You have to be very smart. So you figure out which is the right avenue to walk. So going back to the question about witchcraft, curanderismo, and all of that stuff, I understand that labels are put on all these things, right? We could talk about alchemists, we could talk about shamanic dude, or interdimensional personality, or you know what I'm saying? There are all these labels that are talking about, I don't want to say it's the same thing, but we're talking about otherworldly phenomenon, the intervention of the spirit world, where people are trying to create maybe happy moments with witchcraft. They're trying to invite lovingness and things like that. And witchcraft is almost like a way of cheating. Well, with the shamanic, not, I don't want to say, a shamanic person told me that in his village, he wasn't accepted in his village because he knew how to read. And when he explored that idea, they basically told him that he was wrapped around the white man's magic. And what that meant was that they consider reading books or books the white man's magic in his African village in West Africa. And so reading and writing is a form of witchcraft. And he said that he was so wrapped up around all the Western philosophy that he would be a threat in his indigenous village. And so even a book is considered witchcraft in this part of the world.
Interesting.
Because they influence your thought, your thinking, your learning, that makes you think a certain way. And so when I was writing about this MC, this female MC, she was writing affirmations about intentionally writing affirmations about being the best that she could be, and trying to bring a light into the world. So that's why I titled it like it's witchcraft, because in the way it's a form, according to them, is a form of witchcraft, and I was playing along with those concepts. That you're writing, because you're changing your mind, you're programming yourself with words, and spells and all that stuff. So that's where that poem came from. So if I guess it's the intention that makes you a curandero, I guess, if you're working with spirits and invoking the gods that live in the ground or whatever, it's the intention what makes, black magic, white magic. You get I'm not too well versed in that stuff, but like I have studied with shaman. He had like 3 PhDs or 2 PhDs, and he will sit down and invite me to talks with the community of poets, and he will start teaching me about like how the ancestors just are willing to, they come in through our voices, and they send messages to you like every day, and ancestors take over bodies, and they talk and give you a message. So that's all I could really say about that, but As far as if it's good, is it God's work, whatever, I'm not sure, because the Bible, according to them, is a form of witchcraft because it makes you think in a certain way about the world and things like that. So it's programming you. So are there any questions? Maybe we could explore this topic a little further.
No, that's fascinating. I didn't know that backdrop, but I think it's fascinating. And I think nowadays people, like, especially people who study anthropology and other cultures, they would say, yeah, this is a valid form, you know what I mean? And so the thing is that in Latin American culture, witchcraft has a different connotation than in Western culture. In Western culture, we see witchcraft as a paganistic ritual, right? But in Mexican culture and Latino culture, witchcraft is often seen as evil because they made a pact with the devil. But curanderismo, which is sometimes seen as witchcraft by Westerners, curanderismo is women and men who treat illnesses with herbs, with prayers, with ritual. They cleanse people, they do a lot of times do this out of a labor of love and don't charge you like American curanderas and curanderos do here, right? So there's something that's happening in the transference of our culture to the United States where it becomes a thing about profit. Whereas in Mexico, it's an actual study. You study to become a curandera or curandero for 3 years. You become the curandera and curandero of your village. So you get back to your community and you set up your shop. You don't charge no $100 for a candle, which they do in Chicago, Misael, which is ridiculous, $100 to be, hell no, maybe 10. I know that thing is worth $1 from the dollar store, But but let's talk about this. I am fast. Can you hear me okay, Misael?
Yes.
I am fascinated by this idea of the role that the written word has to create a spell, which I'm like, dude, that's, what do you think? Go ahead.
I mean, I've heard something like that, but maybe not with writing, but more so with music and how music can be like a spell and how you already know how music is and how like it can influence people and how it can have you in kind of like a hypnotic state.
Oh yeah.
sometimes. So it was interesting to hear that thing about the books and like writing also.
Right. Well, there's a reason why fascist dictatorships, what's the first thing they do? They burn books. They outlaw books. They ban books. Because they don't want you to think critically. They don't want you to, I have no doubt that all those girls right now that are protesting in Iran and women, what's the first thing they're gonna do? Probably close down schools because they want to control the population. So I think this is and this book is also for them, for anybody struggling for equality in terms of gender and sexuality. So anybody have any other thoughts and ideas? And welcome for you who came in late. We're here with poet Misael Juarez, the author of My Spoken Word Wife. The book is available for free on Kindle today and tomorrow. If you don't want to support Amazon, you can download the PDF through the press. And I did order copies for you, but they're not coming in until next week. So you get the finished version of this. Yeah, anybody else have any thoughts or comments on this topic? Go ahead.
I mean, I also wanted to hear more about the I don't know if you call it psychedelic writing.
So Zipporah, right? Did I get it right? Okay, thank you. Whew, it's Monday morning. Zipporah would like to know more about the psychedelic writing. And to be clear, people think psychedelic, it's not that he's dropping acid and eating mushrooms or smoking whatever. It's something, in fact, we should maybe rename it to something. I don't want people to get confused. It's a collaboration between himself and the voices that are positive and constructive. So I don't know if you can speak more to that, Misael?
Yeah, I'm gladly clarify what I mean about that. Well, let's say there's when so schizophrenics, we hear voices, right? We see things that other people can't see, and so there are people who spend about $5,000 just to go to a mountain and talk to somebody and just experience 5 minutes. of that, or 5 seconds of that, and or they go in a tree, or they go for 3 days, like without eating, and they get a vision, which is, I'm not downplaying that, but like that's basically I think it's called DMT, the the chemical known to create this type of thinking and behaving, and we're just full of it. So I don't need to do mushrooms or peyote or anything like that, because I already experience that every day. And I see things every day, I hear things every day, and every day there's a message. And so what I did is, instead of fighting that and trying to work a regular 9 to 5 job, where that, like I said in the beginning of the class, when you're trying to do something else, the other world is raging. The stars are pounding on your roof, saying, like, "Hey, listen up, let me in." And you got to figure out how to balance that. And the way I balance that, I call it psychedelic writing, because I'm basically experiencing something otherworldly, and I'm writing. And that's where these messages come from. It comes from that collaboration. All the messages in this book come from that collaboration of fusing with grandfathers and grandmothers who they tell me, hey, I'm your grandfather, and all these beings that look otherworldly, and they come with messages and a plan. And that's what I mean about that. I'm not taking acid or doing mushrooms. I would like to do peyote, but I don't know where to get my hands on any of that stuff other than Mexico. But
You have a reservation, brother. It's legal.
yeah, I would like to do that stuff. I've done it before. It's pretty fun. But it was, when I did it, I wasn't ready for it, but now I understand what's going on, and everything. So I don't know if I answered your question.
You did, but in order to placate the constructive voices, or the voices that are challenging you, what's your process like every day? Do you get up every morning? I heard you say you have to be somewhere comfortable, which makes total sense. But what's your process like? What's your discipline, your writing discipline like on a daily basis? Walk us through it.
Writing discipline. Well, I have to create a safe space, because not everything in the other world is interested in healing or doing good work. And I have to create a safe space where I could not be derailed from my intention of sitting down and writing messages and squeezing out juice for the social justice movement, squeezing out juice for the oppressed, for the children, for the women, and also for the men. I have to create an intention and focus that intention where I can meet the spirit world, or the ancestors, or the voices, or the hallucinations, or whatever you call it. Meet them halfway, and we engage in a collaboration, But mostly for me to do this is I have to get myself out the way. So part of it is quieting my mind. And once I quiet my mind, like I'm very sensitive to my thoughts now. Like before, I wasn't able to tell my thought from an intrusive thought. But then as I grew older and mature with schizophrenia, I learned that intrusive thoughts are also entities and spirits that are just entering your mind. Somebody out there in the other world, on the other side of the world, having an intention that, they don't like people with characteristics like me, and they send their juju at me, and boom, next thing you know, I'm derailed from my work. Or it could be that witches who are doing their thing, or curanderos, or whoever, the mystics, the mysticals, are doing their work, and they're taking people down, or they're helping them up, elevate, be prayer. Even Christians have magic, even Catholics have magic, because they're all constantly praying in their road with the rosary beads, and they're uplifting their family member against other things, or they're praying against somebody else, so it's a very magical world. So I guess it's focusing your magic, focusing your intention. It's mostly intention, focusing your concentration and being alert to whenever that changes, whenever your mood changes, what's going on. There's probably another entity in the space. So I have to protect myself with a good space, and it's all with intention. And I work with I work with this voice that says she's my grandmother, and she's been with me for years, and we build a good relationship. And she tells me like, hey, I want to invite somebody here to talk to you, and yeah, that's basically it. It's about, that's how you do it.
Do you ever get scared? I mean, I'm a chicken. I believe that there is another dimension, and I believe in heaven and the whatever. But I don't want to see any ghosts. I don't want to see it. No, don't even come to my house. Get out.
Yeah.
Nope, thank you.
You get used to it, like
Hell
at first.
no. Oh, hell no. Not my house. No, thank you.
At first it's shocking, like you're seeing things that are cool, at one point, and next thing you know, it all changes, and you're seeing something from a horror film, or characters from horror films, and you're wondering what that is, but like you ain't, if you could see it, you could work with it, or you could choose to say, I don't want to work with you. Because sometimes when they show up, when like characters that look very horrible show up, that's the spirit taking on that format to scare you, or because, somebody didn't like you or something like that. And now you're seeing things, or you're being shouted at or whatever by the voices. And it happens like that. But I can't describe this world because it's always changing and it's always transforming. I have yet to come up, even as a poet myself, I have yet to come up with words to describe this, the spirit world, whatever, the metaphysical world. And I find it very difficult to describe them because their characters are always changing, but they could ruin your day, So you got to get really good at navigating through it and staying focused. If your goal is to write poetry, then there are days that are better, and there are days that it's not so good to write poetry. And that's all I have to say.
Hey, so go ahead. We are streaming live. If you want me to call, sorry, I forgot to say, if you want me to call you a different name, go ahead, ask your question. I'll repeat it if I have to.
So as someone with schizophrenia or like a mental health thing, did you ever feel like your voice as a poet would be, I guess, not valued because of your dictionary plans?
Excellent. Did you get that?
Yeah.
No, like as a schizophrenic or somebody with a mental health issue, or is your poetry not valued because of the mental health condition you have?
Like, how did he get over
And how did you get over the menosprecio that people gave your poetry because they stigmatize your mental health? It's really what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had that. Where there was a time when I was writing poetry, and I just kept sending it out to everybody. Like I was this manic writer, just writing.
I feel it, brother. I feel that manicness.
I wanted to send it out, and no one gave a fuck, like, and it just.
I'm sorry.
And it made me feel like I'm not appreciated. This stuff that I'm doing is not appreciated. Yeah, I have those moments. I have had those moments.
And you will have those moments still, especially now that you're launching your book.
I don't have that now. Now with an audience that are listening to me, and now I have this book with a nice cover on it. Like I don't feel that way. I feel like all that went away once it became published, once it became on the internet, once all that poetry, all those messages had a platform. I felt like I completed my duty in releasing this story and these poems and these messages. I feel like all it is now is to deliver. And there are people who will gravitate to my poetry because they share the same spirit, or the ancestor is pushing them towards that. The messages mean something for them. And I think I've been in good both sides, you know, where I've been received good and when I haven't been received so well. And so it's about basically choosing your path. Do you want to continue engaging people that don't want your poetry, or do you want to engage people that do want your poetry?
True,
And
true.
you gotta find those people. Yeah.
Facts. That's how you build your reader base. Absolutely. So, could you share another poem with us? And then I'm gonna ask you a funny question.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna start laughing like an idiot, but so will you. After this, could you share a poem with us?
Yeah. I'm gonna read this.
And I just want you to know in context that Misael and I are very good comrades. We're very good friends. Right?
Yeah. Now, it's not every day people ask me questions about this stuff, you know. So
I know, it puts you on the spot, right? Book
Yeah.
club, I was reading one of my books and they're like, what was the meaning of the ending in this part? Was this symbolic? I was like, let me get back to you. I was like, I don't know.
all right, so here it goes.
Go ahead.
Real crazy and super bad. It's an economic situation that's tough, and it's the right time to say I love her so much. The brainiac dealing with a maniac alert. Ghetto girls will fall back too if it weren't for her. She's thinking of money making because there's a need. Using high-tech machinery, she never sleeps. Creating a future with computer keyboards. Playing in the league using software metaphors. I'm staring at her face. She's so fun and loving. Blazing cannabis, wondering about money. She comes up with a plan to make cash with a laugh. But to me, she sounds real crazy and super bad. Life deals a new set of cards. Then you make it work. It's never a bad day when you work with effort. Gratitude helps the workday go fast till it's done. She always reminds me to take the steps and have fun. Replacing human labor without warning ya. Robotic assembly creeps through America. If robots were public servants, it would be a great day. It takes economic leaders showing the way. She is a beautiful woman who grew up poor, knowing science and math, having vision to soar, using communication, able and willing. She rises and levels up, breaking through glass ceilings. I play to win even if I ain't playing cards. I have to give her a chance to test out her smarts. Using math as a tool, she multiplies earnings, creating a percentage for retirement dreams. She takes her grandfather's wisdom to the max state, applying herself as the next step calculates. Even though I bite my tongue when she gets really mad, still to me, she sounds real crazy and super bad.
Dope. Dig it, man. I dig it. I love it. So maybe, okay, you know what story I'm gonna ask you to tell, right? But how do you distinguish? I always tell my students, it's up to the writer. I have poet friends like you who become singers, like Adam Gottlieb of One Love, who used to be, he's so phenomenal poet, but he's a songwriter now. How do you make the distinction between these beautiful quatrains that sound like a rap and a rap song? Or could they just be both? It's up to you. Did you get that?
No. Can you repeat
Oh,
that?
okay.
It's
So my
kind of-
question is this. You as a writer, as a rapper, because you used to be a big performer before the schizophrenic thing, right? How do you
Right.
distinguish your poetry on page from rap?
How do I go?
How do you, okay, say for example, you as a writer, you write Juicy Kid, which is a beautiful piece. How do you determine, okay, this is gonna be a rap that I perform live on the mic, or this is gonna be a poem? How do you determine whether your work is gonna be a rap song or a poem?
It's the environment. Like if I feel I should read it really fast, then it's a rap. If I read it really slow, then it's a poem.
Oh shit.
Because the rhyme structure is there, you know, like it was written to a beat, you know, and
They both very musical, both.
yeah. So, you know, like if you take any of these poems, you tweak it a little bit, and you could make a rap. You could get this book, play on some instrumentals, and start reading them, and you probably will learn how to rap. You know, just reading it, because it's structured so well as the quatrains that it just makes rapping easy. You know, but
Right.
when I was a little kid, I used to go to the library with my homeboy Willis, who I haven't seen in such a long time. And I used to print out for 5 cents the lyrics to like Bone Thugs and Harmonies, and I wouldn't understand anything about the rap. Where was the rap? You know, I was like, how do they do it to the beat? How do they do it to that? It was just a lot of writing, like, and it looked like a paragraph, and it wasn't condensed and cut down or whatever. So I would read them. I would read the lyrics and try to figure out what was going on, what they were saying, because to me they rap really fast. They were a group known to rap real fast, and I wasn't quite sure what they were saying or picking up everything that they were saying. So I wanted to be exact sure. So, I started studying lyrics at that age, like when I was, maybe like 12 years old. I started studying lyrics and things like that, and then it didn't click until I realized that there is a certain timing in rap that you could deliver a certain amount of syllables in one bar, in one beat. You could deliver a certain amount of language, and you basically have to time yourself. It's about the speed. Once it's written down, it's really about the speed of your delivery, the melody. It's about the how much energy you put into it. All the work is done once you write it out, and that's basically it. I intentionally made it this way, because I always wanted to rap, because I grew up to hip hop ever since I was a little kid. But when schizophrenia hit, all that went out the window, because I ruined my relationships with my producer and all this stuff, so it went all downhill. But now I'm back up, and I'm trying to create better relationships, instead of.
I have a proposal for you though, because I just had like, boom, because I'm also in a manic state right now, and the ideas are popping. I think when we go to LA, and maybe when we go speak to the organizations, that we could have a drummer accompany you. I know it's cliche, or a guitar. We could find somebody to play some corridos in the backdrop, because the poetry follows a natural rhythm that it would be really easy to accompany to music, and you still perform in your natural way. So put that on let's pin that. I wrote it down.
Yeah, we could play like YouTube beats, and I could do it. I've done it before.
But as long as it's not copywritten. So anyway, but what I wanted to talk about was this hilarious story that I sort of got. I was watching it again, and I couldn't stop. It was like 4 a.m. Jesus, I almost fell out of my damn desk chair. But could you tell the story about the time when the voices invited you to walk in the forest? The whole story, up until the villagers. Could you tell the story? Because to me, it's such a beautiful story about not just this experience you have, this relationship you have with these voices, but the community that's there for you. Oh my gosh. So can you tell that story? And I'm sorry to ask, because I'm gonna start laughing. I'm probably just go ahead, Misael, tell the story.
All right.
It's hilarious. I can't do it. I'll sit down.
The voices, or the ancestors, they get you in trouble, but they also get you out of trouble. But they're mostly known to get you into trouble, as if trouble will spark the hidden meaning behind life, and once you're in trouble, what is that comes out of your mode or being that helps you through the rough, So trouble can make us see who we are deep down inside. So I was in a village in Mexico City, and it's like a 5-hour drive up in the mountain, surrounded by woods and everything, away from the city. And like I woke up and I seen my grandfather, what looked like my grandfather, and he said, walk with me, we'll take you a walk. And I was experiencing maybe like I was having a hard time, in life, just trying to fit in or trying to do something. And so this village has pathways to the forest, to the river, to everything, right? But my grandfather told me, let's take a trip without taking the trail or the path. You know, we're gonna just go deep into the woods we're gonna make our own trail. And I was up for it. So eventually I kept walking and walking, and I walked so much that I was so far down the mountain that I there's no way else but to reach the bottom and find a trail so I could get back up to the village. And it was a slippery place, you know. I fell a few times because it was so slippery coming down the mountain. And I even had a cactus
You fell on a cactus, dude.
I fell on a cactus just like in the cartoons, you know, like, and I had to remove the needles and everything from my body, from my hand. Like there was cactus all on my hand and my back. On the fall, I lost my knife, which I was gonna use to cut the cactus to eat it, you know. I know that's edible, you know, and
Oh, God.
so I managed to get down to a bank, and it was very steep, you know. There was no trail. You basically had to climb down. You have to be like a rock climber to get down there. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to get down from there. But like as I was getting down, there's those bees that keep stinging you. I think they're African bees. They could sting you more than once. And as I was climbing down on the bank, I seen this bee just hovering. It just started stinging me in the forehead and face. And I was like, man, it couldn't be no worse time for this bee to sting me right now. And
This is funny. This is funny. You can't make this up.
and so I tried to outsmart the bee. I happened to have a baseball cap on, and I grabbed the cap and I trapped the bee on my head. So I'm thinking I'm gonna smart the bee. I'm gonna kill it right now for stinging me. I just hit myself like really hard, like thinking I'm gonna kill that bee, you know. And I kept climbing down, and out of curiosity, I was thinking like, you know, what if this bee is dead? You know, let me check if it's dead. No, it comes out of the hat, flies around, is even more angry, and it keeps stinging me right in the head. Like, so I gotta keep going down, and I figure out how to do that, you know. But it was a survival moment, you know. It was, you know, I'm telling you, this following the spirit got me into trouble, like in the survival mode. And I had to come back up I was gone from 8 in the morning to like 8 at night. And I didn't stop moving. I was moving this whole time down a mountain, up the mountain. And finally made it back, and found out that the villagers were all looking for me. They were all looking for me, and they were looking. The first place they wanted to search for me was at the bars. They said, "What if he's drinking?" So you'll be all right.
The better it gets.
They had thought I had died. They thought I had died, like in the woods, got in by a mountain lion or something. But
Tell them what that little girl told you, that little rancherita.
I'm sorry, what you say?
Tell them what that little rancherita told you when she saw you.
All right. So the women were preparing coffee already for because they thought I had died or something, disappeared. And when I showed up, one of the rancheritas, the ranchera women says, "So how many dragons did you kill?" Just to clown me even more.
Okay, the real funny part, I'm sorry. They posted on Facebook, "Have you seen this man? We're looking for him."
Yeah. So I experienced a lot of psychosis. I was listening to lots of things,
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry.
lots of beings and things that didn't sound
No, I
friendly.
mean, other than from the fact that you had this caring community, look, what did you learn from the experience? Did you learn anything, or were the spirits just messing with you?
I did learn something. I feel like there was a lot of epiphany. There was a lot of like, I got to know nature. I got to know what
African being stuck.
it's like to spend time in a mountain just to do a journey like that. I felt like I lost a lot of pressure and stress when by the time I got back home.
Nice.
All my worries were gone.
You got your butt kicked.
Yeah, I was tired. I was scraped up and everything, but I learned a good deal about life and how precious it is and how beautiful community is. I really learned how beautiful that community really is because they were worried about me. They were searching for me. Here I thought I was not loved or unwanted, because of the way I was. And they really showed their heart out, and reaching out and looking for me. So I felt really appreciated. Maybe it's a way my grandfather got me. I'm gonna get them to appreciate you and you appreciate them. So I'm gonna lose you for a while and see what they do.
Nah, brother. I think it got you to appreciate yourself.
Right.
I
Right.
really do. And look, I find it very odd that there was one solitary African bee in the middle of nowhere. I think your grandpa sent that bee to teach you a lesson. Because there ain't no
Yeah.
shot class in the afterworld, but damn, So we have a question from a student. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, well, two questions. First of all, do you think that all ancestors inherently are rooting for you?
Ooh, that's a great
second
question.
Is how does your relationship with your ancestors differ from your relationship with the divine, or however you would define
Oh, excellent. Did you catch that? So she wants to know, Sephora. Oh my gosh, I'm so sleep deprived. The first question was brilliant and I forgot it. Could you repeat it again, Mija?
It was, do you think that all ancestors inherently have?
Oh, do the ancestors inherently root for you? And the second question is, how do you distinguish the voices from the ancestors from the divine?
How is your relationship with your ancestors different?
How is your relationship different? The relationships, how is the relationship you have with your ancestors different than the relationship you have with the divine? That is deep.
Oh, all right. Well, there's a very unique way of answering this question because you have to take into account that not every ancestor is a healthy ancestor. Not every ancestor is on your side. Simply because of in this world there are people who have the contrary vision of doing the opposite of what you're doing or getting these things done. So they may be rooting for them and helping them out, and they may not be helping you out because they're helping them out. But an ancestor that comes to you, they generally love you. They all love each other. They all get along, from what I understand. But sometimes the ancestors have feuds between each other. They're working against each other because they're trying to satisfy the world of the living. And I think to answer your question is, I feel like my grandmother put me through tough situations simply because I was unaware that I could ask her to do things for me. I could ask her to create a path for me that makes sense. While I started my journey just getting lost in the void of ancestral voices and spirits or things that are not ancestors or things that are otherworldly or trees or things like that. There's so many things out there. That's what I've experienced. Even in outer space, there's all kinds of things. And you learn one question like that could really open up a whole new world for one individual. So I'm trying to be very good at creating the best answer for you, because ancestors love you. They deeply love you. They want you to succeed. They want you to be well. It is when you get to a certain platform or a certain rank in the human world that people become deviant and they start deviating from their ancestors and they start corrupting things, creating dysfunction everywhere. And it's to be in alignment with your ancestor, the things get easier, even though you're in a tough situation, things are really beautiful, and ancestors will get you in trouble simply because they want you to be dangerous. They don't want you to be meek. They don't want you to be a pushover. They want you to be strong. They want you to know that they got your back, and they want you to be feared by adversity. There's all kinds of powers that be that do all kinds of things that we hear every now and then, and they're doing their thing too. So sometimes their work interferes with your work, so there's a match going on of energy happening in the spirit world, and it's all about having faith in everything. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but I try to answer it as best as possible.
So how do you differentiate between your ancestors and the divine? How do you make that distinction?
I could tell. I'm familiar with my grandmother and my grandfather. I'm familiar with them because they were. I'm familiar with their voice, their frequency, their gestures, and I'm able to. They have their own character. They have their own voice. Sometimes he sounds muffled. Sometimes he sounds like very loud. Sometimes he sounds very like he's in a hallway. Sometimes they sound like he fuses with other spirits. Like sometimes another spirit will fuse with my grandfather, and they will both like combine, and they'll start talking, and they sound really weird. But I could tell it's my grandfather because it has his essence. Every voice that I have listened to has this unique characteristic, and there's and you learn to spend time with them. You learn to tell them apart, and you use your heart. You gotta use your heart to feel out the vibes, and if you feel like you're being misled or you feel like you're being tricked, is your heart to tell all that stuff. But it takes patience. It takes time.
That's beautiful. I mean, you can make that case for almost any religion. There's a war between good and bad. You discern to go with the good. You know what I mean? I think that's brilliant. So, we haven't talked about. You mentioned that you are starting to go back to school. Can you tell the students a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got financial aid, so I'm thinking of going back to school, but I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off because
I think you can pull it off, brother. I believe in you.
It's not that I can't do the work, it's that sometimes the ancestors just give me a lot of work as far as writing and doing things, and I'm not sure if it'll be a good fit. So I'm still deciding on whether or not to complete my degree.
I would encourage you to complete it just because in this writing world, it'll give you street cred.
Right.
You and I both know you're incredibly intelligent. You're brilliant. And you don't need a piece of paper for that, but the letters would just help the advocacy and the activism. It just will, and it'll raise your street cred as a poet, though that doesn't necessarily have to be the case because there's people like Misael and others who don't have a college degree and look where they're at. So yeah, but I'm super excited. Like I said, I'm going to give you hard copies of the book. I'm going to keep going dab at the hardcover. Why don't you close this out with another poem? Can you read either Her Multiverse or Juicy Kid, one of the last two poems, and then the socials are in the back. So but anyway, go ahead.
All right. I'm celebrating with my spoken word wife, rocking the mic to bring in the cash tonight. It's the Juicy Kid from the Harvestry Gang, from the City of Angels to make it bang. I'm the Juicy Kid from the block of Hard Knocks, cause I drop black magic witches with nonstop hip hop flow and my MC skills to beat them. A sweet curandera kept my heart beating, and many women blessed me when I was young. But this beautiful lady came singing songs, gracious melodies for the waters of life. That's how I knew she was my spoken word wife. Riding out the waves like a surfing addict, making her wet when she wears sexy outfits. She glows like embers when I make her all mine, throwing her love signs for being on my mind. She heats up like vapors and comes down like rain, forms a stream for my dreams to live with the fame. I stay 100 for she's my remedy cure, bumping slow jams in the moonlight being pure. The player of words spits through space and time, rising like the sun over apple limes. I'm here rocking shows with a mighty presence, bringing cash for kids living in the wasteland. I slam lyrical alchemy to free streets as contumely spit rhymes over hip-hop beats, running through street jungles and boulevard nights, flowing like a river under the moonlight. I'm the vato with iconoclastic flow, breaking the all-seeing eye with a lightning bolt, with freedom fighters destroying the matrix, freeing boys and girls caged up by the hatred. Catch me in ritual, smoking like a chief. I wore the eagle feather when they named me Shok Toksha for dropping enemy soldiers. It means wolf in the code, a fearless warrior. The word Dr. Brace curses with a fine nurse, like illegal laborers in your own turf, building a movement with underground MCs. Metaphors bewitch you when you ride the beat, spitting pyro flows like a Uzi machine, making the party bounce like a trampoline, playing love songs in my low, heading home with my spoken word wife scraping the ozone. I'm celebrating with my spoken word wife, rocking the mic to bring in the cash tonight. It's the Juicy Kid from the Harbor Street Gang, from the City of Angels to make it bang.
Beautiful, super well done. Well, we're almost at time, and Misael, I want to thank you and thank the creative writing. This is the official book launch as far as I'm concerned, so we're going to be going on tour. I'm not missing class, though, by the way, when we go to LA, so we'll hit up as many institutions as we can when time forwards. And Misael, this has been brilliant. I know it's so early in the morning for you, dude. I forgot, and I apologize, but I just want to thank you. We all want to thank you for your time and for your wisdom and for being so open about the embrace of schizophrenia and the struggles and all that. So I think it's on point and it's timely, man. So I just want to thank you for this beautiful work, and looking forward to the minds that are changed from seeing you perform and reading it. Does anybody have any quick questions? We got like a minute. Go ahead, real quick.
So how do you, I guess, like level up your vocabulary?
I got it. Yeah, bro. Write down the notebook. How do you upgrade your vocab? How do you upgrade your vocabulary?
Reading, writing, especially taking the cue from people like Malcolm X who write the new word on a post-it and put it on your wall. Read it every day.
Notebook. I recommend that you write the word you don't know, define it, and use it in a context. That's how you're gonna memorize it. Write it down with your hand, because that's muscle memory, right?
Yeah, like you know, when you go into a new social circle, you notice they tend to use particular words that are different, phrases and things like that.
That's just to keep you out.
And they create a culture around that, and that culture becomes defined by those words that they use, and they become who they are because of those words that they use. So if you're not only just learning, expanding your vocabulary, you're creating a culture. You know, every time you learn in words, the way you use it, the phrases, how you're gonna use it. So be mindful of that too, you know, but look forward to that. Creating culture that's what it's all about. That's what writing's all about. You create a culture, you know, and if we look at all that mess that dysfunction is out there as writers analyzing what other writers are saying, like whether it be in TV or hip hop or music in general, we'll see that the writers are doing something the industry wants them to do. But we could create a culture on ourselves the way we want it, with our ancestors, with our hearts open, like, and be real with it, and at the same time loving and fun. So I encourage you guys to learn as many words and create your own phrases, create your own culture, things that would set the tone, you know, for your social circles, you know, and that's how you learn it with other people, exploring their words with other people. Because if we just become the ones that know all the words, then it ain't no fun. We just kind of like talking to ourselves, and we only make sense to ourselves. But it's really about exploring those words with a community, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a fun challenge, and maybe that's something we could do as a class, and put the post on the wall. Right, why not, dude? Nobody's gonna take it down, but I think, damn, that's next level. I love that idea of learning vocabulary and community, totally deep. Well, let's give Misael a gratitude for giving us the support, and thank you for performing. We look forward to having you again. Misael, I know I'm the editor, but I wish you every success. As a professor, I really encourage you to get your degree and do it your way. Ain't gotta be 2 years, ain't gotta be 4 years. Do it at your own pace, do your own success. We need more people like you in the academy, you know? Anyway, so peace, much love and appreciation, and I'll see you soon, yeah? Peace.